Hey, I won't waste your time. Hey, us is where we shine. Teaching Tuesday. It's more than just another day. Teaching Tuesday. Find place. Teaching Tuesday. Teaching Tuesday.
Hello, Dana and I are back. Let's do a quick little share to our communities to tune in. So today was supposed to be a different day, and we're still going to have it. And Dane is going to behave. Hey, Dane, say hello to everybody. Say hi. Is it me, or has he gotten bigger? He's getting bigger, y'all. He's not going to get much bigger. He's going to be about 20 pounds. So he's gonna be medium sized. Why does this keep getting caught on me? Listen, earlier I stepped on his foot, I stepped back, and all I heard was, "Thank you for licking me, son," within an inch of my life. So anyway, we're back. Welcome to Teaching Tuesday. I'm your host, Stephanie D. McKenzie, and today I'm going to be answering a question that I a lot, actually. And so part of the thing is, I hope you're going to behave and not eat my shirt. Son, please don't eat my shirt. One of the things that I think is really interesting is the conversation around coaching, advising, and mentoring. And so I actually get into a conversation around actually how to coach, because I think sometimes a lot of people have it twisted, like so very twisted. Hold on. Let me hit post on that, send that over to Founder folks, over to Powerful Women in Business Global, over to Turn Brand, turn a class into cash and your brand into demand. So anyway, we're going to see. Hopefully Dane is going to behave, right? You gonna behave? You gonna behave, son? I love it when y'all get to see him. Hey, say I'm cute. Let me get my bow tie right. So if you're just tuning in, hello. You're meeting, some of you are meeting, seeing my first son, Dane. This is Dapper Dane in his bow tie. Where are you trying to go, son? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? Anywho, so I want to get into that conversation because I think there's a lot of discourse around what it means to actually do this work. And although I am a fractional marketing and brand professional, I find that when I work with clients, especially if they're a solopreneur, if they have a small team, and I'm working directly with the owner, that there's a misconception, or that there can be a misconception about each of these. Today, we're going to talk about how to coach, because I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of coaches don't know how to coach. I'm going to be honest with you, they don't know how to coach. They became a coach because they give great advice or some other foolishness. And if you're going to call yourself a coach, you need to know how to coach. Now, some of you know I hold over 13 coaching certifications, and I will tell you only one program taught me how to coach. Only one of the 13. And so in that, when I developed my own coaching certification program, I made it clear that this is how you coach. There's a thing that we call coaching protocol. Coaching protocol. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is that coaches ask, mentors, advisors, and consultants tell. Now, more than likely, I'm going to ruffle a lot of feathers. And I might even piss some people off with this. Because you thought it was an emergent term. You thought, oh, okay, this is what the consultants are calling themselves now. And I'm like, when I got checked, when I was fake coaching in the early 2000s, right? Because I thought coaching was just an emergent term for consultant. That's when I began to lean into what it actually means. Now, listen, I also know, there's a lot of conversations around coaching, the coaching industry in general. And this is not that, right? This is kind of a how-to on how to coach. This is a how-to on what coaching is, what coaching isn't, and how we use it in our client relationships. Hello, baby. I'm going to show the people your bow tie. Yeah. Okay. What does that mean? Why are you fighting the air? Oh, oh, that meant I wanted to lay down. I want to lie down, Mom. That's what I wanted. So, in that, what is coaching? So, coaching is a discipline that is steeped in questioning. All right. And yes, I am a certified coach in addition to everything else I do. And so when I work with a client, invariably coaching is going to come into, because it's just one of my modalities. It's one of the modalities that I use to serve our clients, because I found that, one, it takes the pressure off of me to have all of the answers, because nobody has all the answers. And two, it allows people to feel seen, heard, and witnessed. Listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. Some of y'all suck at listening to other people. You do. You absolutely suck at it. You want to say what you want to say. You don't want to listen. You're listening to respond. You're not listening to actually hear and take in what they're saying. Like, some of y'all just suck at that. You crap test again. And one of the reasons why I love and adore coaching is because I can ask one question. I can ask a question that will unlock an answer that can change the entire trajectory of somebody's life. I can do that. And you know why I can do that? Because I practice it. I practice it. A lot of new coaches get tripped up because they're like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. And again, this is not just about coaching. Because do you understand that I fervently believe that everybody should be a coach. Parents should be coaches. Spouses should be coaches. Leaders should be coaches. EVPs should be coaches. Everybody should be a coach. Everybody should have this skill, because it's really a skill. Everybody should have this skill that allows you to connect with your fellow humans in a way that means that they don't deflect and they don't feel the need to defend, but that they open themselves up to find the answers that are within. Did I just rhyme? I think so. Anyway, nevertheless, and I'm not going to be on long. When we developed this program called Coaching for Leaders, that was one of the things that was one of the reasons why, because I feel like coaching is such an amazing tool. And unfortunately, there are people who have bastardized the skill of coaching so that they can, make their 20,000s per client, et cetera, et cetera. And I know, those coaches, that's awesome if you do that. Yes, I've been paid 20 grand to coach. Yes, I've been paid 17, 12, 10. Yes, I've made 5 figures. Yes, I've had a $50,000 month. Yes, I've had a 6-figure coaching practice that I actually closed. Okay, great. Well, I paused it. And that's a whole conversation in itself. But in order to coach well, it becomes important that you take the posture of a guide. First things first. You're the guide on the side. You're not the sage on the stage. Right now, I'm the sage on the stage. But when I'm in a coaching session, I'm a guide on the side. Now, if I'm mentoring, that's different. I'm going to do more telling. If I'm consulting, I'm going to do more telling. If I'm advising, I'm going to do more telling. And so one of the things that I do, if I'm in a quote unquote coaching relationship with someone, when I switch hats, I let them know. I'm like, hey, coaching is about asking, not telling. However, if it's okay with you, again, curating that safe space and continuing to curate that safe space, if it's okay with you, could I tell you something? Or if you get really good, you can start to frame what you're thinking in the form of a question, which is one of my tricks in my bag. For real. It's one of my tricks in my bag. But understand that as a coach, your role is to be the guide. And in order to guide appropriately, you ask really amazing questions. And in order to ask your client or clients really amazing questions, it's imperative that you recuse yourself from the role of having all the answers. I will never forget the day I was sitting at a restaurant with a friend of mine, and we were talking about coaching, and I guess somebody was ear hustling, and they said, "Oh, are you a coach?" God, I think I'd make the best coach. Everybody says I give the best advice. Actually, you wouldn't make a great coach. When we look at the essence of coaching, there's a balance there, right? Because we often tie it to coaching a team where there are plays, but and I'm not a big expert on coaching in sports, but this is what I perceive. I perceive that the coach has plays and the coach has insight, but he does give. Huh, Dang, you okay? That was weird. I don't know what that was, but he does give a certain level of autonomy to the players to make decisions. Now, if somebody wants to fact check me, feel free, right? In coaching, what is so key is that you give your clients autonomy. You got to give them autonomy because a lot of times they're coming to you ill-equipped to operate in their own sense of agency, their own sense of self, their own sense of worth. Many, 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 many times. And so you're being given the very coveted space in their life to advise them. However, if you advise them, then they're still going to operate in that same level of lost autonomy. So if you begin to question them, not interrogate, but question them, that changes everything. In a few of the coaching programs that I've written, I've actually included like questions, like questions you can start off with. And I think that's great. Once upon a time, I had a coaching deck somewhere in this house. It still exists. And it had questions in it that you could use to coach yourself, to coach your clients, et cetera, et cetera. This is not an infomercial. This is an informational moment. If you claim you're a coach, do that. If you want to be a coach, learn that. Asking questions is one of the best ways to create a relationship with somebody that they feel seen and heard and valued. I will never forget one of my little god nephews that had a bad day at school, and his mom was like, "Boy, when I get you home," and I'm like, "Okay, sis. I mean, he hit another kid. Okay, kids do that. Ask him why." She said, "What?" I said, "Ask him why." So she turns around in the seat. Well, as mamas do, because you got to watch the road, but you got to watch the kid, right? So you're like, hey, son, why did you hit that kid? And he starts explaining. Now, mind you, he couldn't have been more than 4, 3 or 4 maybe, but he starts explaining. And as he explains, it becomes clearer to myself as well as his mom. I'm on the phone coaching this interaction, right? That he didn't necessarily do anything wrong, even though it had been framed as that. Was he reactive? Yes. Did he hit a kid? Yes. Did he think that was his only option? Yes. Was the kid doing something to him? Absolutely. And that's how that shook out. So, do you understand what would have happened if that line of questioning had not been deployed? If she hadn't said to him, "Hey, what's going on? Why did you do that?" And this is why I believe everybody should be a coach. Everybody should learn this skill because it's so valuable. It's so super duper valuable. So when people ask me, how do you coach? I've had people ask me that question, how do you coach? I tell them I've learned to ask questions without believing I know or have the answer. I've learned to ask questions without knowing or believing that I have the answer or the final say. I also don't have to take responsibility. And that's one of the key things of telling somebody what to do. Because if you tell somebody what to do and they do it and it doesn't turn out, guess what? You told them to do it. If they did it under duress because they wanted to please you or because they like you or because whatever, the dynamic is that's a whole thing in itself too. You see what I'm saying? So this is why I feel very strongly that coaching is a skill that everybody should have, but a lot of people don't. Dare I say, there has to come a level of emotional and mental maturity that you must achieve in order to coach others well. This is why when we launched our coaching certification program, one of the things I required was that everybody in that program, even though I had a very malicious, dare I say, carcinogenic individual in one of our cohorts who basically dismantled it. And I was like, y'all, I had two cohorts going at one time. The first cohort, they were awesome. The second cohort, they were trash. And if you're watching this and you say, dang, Stephanie, trash, yeah, it was absolute trash, because at the end of the day, we built our certification program to be like an MBA program for coaches. It was like B school for coaches. Okay. I let one person into a cohort and they dismantled the whole thing with their nonsense. And what happened was they allowed it to trickle into the next person. And so I would spend like an hour and a half coaching this person through their dramas and traumas and da 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 da. Then they would go talk to the other person in the cohort, and then they would come back and say, I don't understand. I was like, because you let that person who's not doing any of the work, who's not showing up for any of the sessions, who's not showing up for any of the extra sessions, who's not showing up for any of the support, rob you of your understanding. Because unbeknownst to her, peep game on it, right? Clock it, period. Clock it. I think this person was jealous of the other person. See, there is a level of spiritual, mental, and emotional maturity that must, why are you eating my shirt, son? That must be achieved to serve others. There's something that I talk about on the low, although I've talked about it on LinkedIn, might as well talk about it over here. Something I call sociopathic leadership. And I don't know if you'll know, in fact, most of you have probably had a sociopathic leader. In fact, some of you might have been a sociopathic leader, because until you evolve emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, that's what you'll be. Your leadership will be toxic. You are unable to be unbiased. You are unable to support. And again, that goes with coaching. In a coaching relationship, right? There's a level of health and well-being, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even relationally, that has to be achieved. Now, am I saying you have to be perfect? No, I'm saying that if you're working on your own healing, you're working on your own stability, if you're working on your own well-being, then odds are you have the capacity to hold space. If you're not, then you can engage in something called countertransference, where you basically try to make your clients your escape of solving your own problems. Or you can also engage in just toxic behavior. I have at least one client who loves to tell the story about how I abused her and mistreated her. I'm like, lies, girl. You just didn't want to be corrected. Let's call a spade a spade. You wanted somebody to sit up here and tell you how great you were, which I did. But the moment I didn't, you wanted to go, to the interwebs and cry big crocodile tears about how I mistreated you. Girl, bye. I mistreated you so well, you got your first client with a comma. Again, you just didn't like the way that I told you something wasn't well. Y'all, you wanted to hear about was how awesome you were. And listen, when I am working with you, I'm your hype man. But as I tell everybody, I give kudos and correction. In my life, I accept kudos and correction. You don't have to tell me everything is awesome. You don't have to hype me up. You don't have to gas me up. Because I've reached a level of emotional, mental, and spiritual maturity that I don't need you to lie to me. I'm not triggered by being wrong. Okay, sometimes I am, but not for the reasons I used to be. Sometimes I just hate I didn't get it. Like, dang. I am no longer triggered by being wrong because I feel like I have to be perfect and excellent in all of the things. That's not what this is. So again, how to coach, work on yourself and assess. One of the greatest things you can do as a coach, or anyone who's serving other people, is assess your capacity. If you don't have the capacity for other people's emotions, for other people's challenges, for other people's blah, 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 honestly, serving probably ain't for you in this season. I'm just going to be honest. Find something else to do. Go play in somebody else's face. Get out of my face. Shout out to Tiffany I think it's Tiffany Doing Things as a creator. Get out of my face. Oh, she has dimples though. It looks so much better with the dimples. But anyway, I have dimple envy. For anybody who doesn't know, that's why I'll be the first one to tell you it's a birth defect. Get out of my face. No, really, it's a birth defect. Okay. Would it still be a birth defect if I had them? Yes. Yes, it would be. Would I be as joyous telling you that it's a birth defect? Probably not. My father had two dimples, and uh, his wretched daughter, firstborn daughter, got one, and I got none. Mwah. Nevertheless, she also has a very, very hateful disposition and pretty toxic energy. So I think I won. Yay! Why am I airing out all my stuff today? I don't know. It just seems like it. I will tell you, you know, this is a side note. Checking in with yourself is one of the greatest things you can do. And deciding when you've had enough will serve you. It'll serve you greatly and it'll serve you well. You get to decide when you've had enough. When you've had enough of that person's nonsense, when you've had enough of that job, when you've had enough of that situation, you get to decide that you've had enough and to take action accordingly. Right? And because of that, coming back into the coaching piece, everybody operates from their own level of understanding. As a coach, remember, it is your role to be the guide on the side. Their timing, though, they may not do what you want them to do in the timeline that you want them to do it. I've had clients that literally walked away. They were good, but then months later, they were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Remember when you said blah, 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 or you asked me blah, 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 blah. I get it now. 6 months later, light bulb is just like, little cherubs start raining down from heaven and all the things, right? And I'm like, I'm so proud of you. I always say we never have old clients, even though for some reason I put an old client special. But anyway, we have active and passive clients because any given point in time, a client could literally show up on my phone or my inbox. And I'm just like, yay, I'm so happy. How can I help? How can I serve? And that's the gig, man. That's the gig. I'm really sick and tired of people walking around, claiming that they're coaches and they're not because they don't know how. Coaching is a skill. It has a protocol. There's a way to do it. I'm sick and tired of people walking around talking about their leaders and they're not. You can't be sociopathic, biased, ill-equipped, self-centered, uh, toxic, ravenously narcissistic, and truly be a leader. You can be a cult leader, bad cult leader. But even then, that's fleeting because ultimately a leader has to give the people something that they can galvanize to a vision that they can stick to. So if you're too busy stuck in your own life and trying to control people, if control is your thing, get out of my face. Get out of my face. But anywho, I got a call. So Dane and I are going to get out of here. Say bye. Say bye to the people. You don't bark. It's very rare that you bark. You don't bark. Show me your bow tie, son. Where are we going? Okay. All right. He's like, check the back, y'all. No, you're not eating my hair. Anywho, why are you crawling up my head, son? Come back. Come back. Why he does that? He does it on the couch too. It's so weird. Anyway, guys, listen, if I can serve and support you in any way, I'm happy to do so. Check out the link in the bio. Go over to thestephstore.com. We're moving some things around. So if you've been to the coe.group.app, hi. We have moved away from Group App for the College of Empowerment, aka the COE. We're moving everything back over to Podia, including our Coaching for Leaders certificate. We've got actually about to have 4 certificate programs over there. And so if that excites you, just put a yay in the comments. But Founder Mind is coming back and there'll be more details about that because listen, serving is my jam and I'm obsessed with your success. So nevertheless, what's my name? My name is Stephanie D. McKenzie and you've been watching Teaching Tuesday. See you next week. Bye.
Have you been on a weight loss journey and the scale just isn't giving you the results you hoped for? Well, meet Thinner, an FDA-registered, all-natural, homeopathic approach that addresses the root causes of how to lose weight and keep it off, especially if hormones are an issue. If you're tired of all of the guesswork and doing it alone, scan the QR code for more info, and let's get you started today.